from Mr. Getty over here. Support at mrmac.us. No, that's mine. In-person class, yeah. Excuse my reach here. There you go. That one at the bottom. But I wouldn't. It's going to be like a 15-second. You can hear my AirPods going on and off. Monterey, yeah.
So I can skip picture.
Yeah, you can skip right over it. You know, if you feel, I mean, I usually recommend that we don't do 12.0, that we do 12.0.1 maybe, you know, the second version. In our shop, we actually wait like till the second release because sometimes there's bugs. You know, I know right away how buggy it is because my people start coming to my door and like the email doesn't work or whatever, you know.
So maybe I should download Big Sur.
You can download Big Sur. I would say go ahead and skip to Monterey after the second version of Monterey comes out because Catalina is a great operating system. You're not missing out. Yeah, there's nothing really different. It's really, really solid. I like that operating system a lot. And so what year is your Mac?
Got it last December.
It's a MacBook? It's a laptop?
No, it's on my Mac.
It's an iMac? Okay. All right, cool. All right, so I hear it over there. Okay, awesome. I don't know what you can volume down for me or throw your earbuds in. Just make sure it stays on. All right, guys, I'm going to give everyone about 4 minutes, and then we're going to start there. If you're listening on the live stream, thank you for being here and being here on time. We're going to start here in about 4 minutes and let our in-class personnel show up here, and then we'll get started. Okay. I'm going to talk about the sleep cycle because it does studies, but I take it off every night. You take it off every night?
I had a Fitbit that I left on 24/7 and I got rid of it because I said it's controlling my life.
It's controlling your life. Which part of it? The text or just telling you how many steps you did? Or
Telling me everything.
Telling you everything? Okay. What's the main difference between the two? As someone who's switched over, because sometimes I'll talk to Fitbit users and they're like, I think it does everything. And I'm like, I don't know. I've never used Fitbit, but maybe it does.
It does just about the same thing, but it's how it delivers to you is a little different.
Okay.
I think it's easier to use than this.
Okay.
This has become very complicated because you've got so much stuff where it's trying to give you, and Fitbit is very basic.
Sure.
It made it easier because of that. But this has, in my opinion,
Yeah.
much more manipulation and much more granular detail.
And so the features that you get out of it is worth the sacrifice for simplicity?
It depends on the individual.
Okay. Oh, for you personally, you're glad you upgraded. Okay. Yeah, sure. Could you get the text messages on the one that you had before, or was it only the step counter one?
It was not the one with the messages on it.
Okay.
I have a friend who got the one with the messages on it, and she got frustrated as they break after about a year.
Right. Okay. Okay.
So it's much more durable.
Yeah, if it breaks every year, it's probably not. After 2 or 3 years of that.
Mine was actually recalled because they had a problem. They stopped shooting it out.
Really?
And then they issued out another one, so it was just like, I've had enough.
Okay. Yeah, a recall on top of that. Just time to change over companies. Yeah. Get this out of here. You good?
Orientation right this time.
Good job, man. All right, so that's good to go. And I'm gonna go ahead and take this. I'm gonna walk up there and we'll get started. in a minute. So you can stand up and just start filming me. And I'll give you a nod or something to walk up and just do a swing around, and then and then one more in the back, and then you're good to go. Like one more, like you'll walk up, you do a swing around, you put it by your side, come back here. Okay. All right, so let me do it again. So you'll walk up, just kind of point it straight at me. Okay. You do a swing around. Swing around, front, swing back. Like to my right, and just kind of go in a circle around me until you're halfway. You're just gonna catch me from the side. Let me change it like that. Catch me from the side, and then walk right back the way you came. Okay. Do that on both sides. No, just one. Yeah. There and back. All right. Okay, that's pretty good. All right, gang. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate y'all very much for coming in and continue to learn about some of the most important stuff, which is safety related and how Apple has increased the technology in order to keep us to live healthier lives. And I think that's really one of the big benefits. I'm going to talk a little bit more in a second. That has really grown in like the last year, maybe the last 18 months. So this is new, hot off the presses. Thank you to Wimberley EMS. Don't have Ken Strange here today, but I just want to say to the whole EMS team and those on live stream, who've donated to EMS this week. Thank y'all so much for contributing. They're really an awesome crew. Let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to have Cadence he's doing some promo video for us. All right, so he's going to just kind of go ahead and get started with that. We're doing just some commercials in YouTube. So you guys might see a YouTube channel pop up from us, an invitation. Please subscribe. I think we're going to keep it fun, keep it light. And I think that's going to be a really good thing for us. None of you guys will be in it or anything like that here today. He's been instructed to point at me, all right, as I point, but not anybody else. Okay. So let's go ahead and get started. This first one is safety first. Okay. Go ahead and come on up, bud. Yeah, and then just do one, and then I know you gotta roll out. I gotta have you head out. All right, so hello world, okay? The reason for this phrasing is because it's kind of a tongue-in-cheek reference to coders. Whenever you develop a new coding language, the first thing that you want that coding language to do is to display the phrase hello world. All right, that's kind of the first thing that they do. It's tradition, and it's to say as if this language was becoming self-aware or able to now communicate with the rest of us. All right, and we've seen a lot of that to the transfer of the power of an entire spaceship in a little cell phone, right? Have we heard that kind of phrasing before? Like all the computing power in the Apollo 13 is easily within the bounds of this cell phone, many times under. Have you guys heard something like that? Hey, Kelly, come on in. How you doing? Cool. And we've seen that probably, here's the main line of the iMac. Yeah, wherever's good for you. Awesome. Thanks, Cadence. So did anyone have this one on the far left, y'all's left over here, the gumdrop? No, we had it. It's called the gumdrop. They came in the different colors, right? And so that is also called the G3, the iMac G3. And so the computing power of all of NASA is probably like right in about here. In between that G3, the one to the right is called a 17-inch flat panel iMac, G4, then the G5, and then into the current iMac lineup, all the way up to the iMac Pro, and then that new M1 iMac that just came out. And so we've seen the development of that, and the ability of that has grown even more so into just the Apple Watch. And we're going to be talking a lot today about the Apple Watch. I know I was just talking with Pam over here about the Apple Watch. Does anyone else have one in here? Al, you got one, right? Anybody else? Okay, so we're going to talk a bit about health today. This is not an advertisement for the Apple Watch. Okay, I'm not trying to sell Apple Watches today. I do have the price up here for reference. The most recent Apple Watch, the Series 6, starts at $399 for the smaller one, the 40-millimeter one. And they have a more economically aggressive one that starts at $299. That's the Apple Watch SE. And so both of these watches will add a lot of features to in particular, the health aspects of your life. So, oh, in terms of the difference between the two, that's a great question, Sylvia. So the difference is the hardware inside. They are identically sized. Okay, the features are a little bit different. I was talking with Pam a moment ago about how her Series 5 has an always-on screen. My Series 4 does not. The Apple Series 6 also has an always-on screen, and the SE does not. It turns off when you stop looking at it. Okay, and they've made that change by the refresh rate on the Series 5 and the Series 6, and we expect the Series 7 as well. The big change is a 1 hertz refresh rate, so it refreshes and barely uses any battery to stay on all the time. It's pretty cool technology. But either one of these will hold all the other features, the health features that we're going to talk about today. Okay, for either one. And I think it's really important to talk about these because we have this watch, the Series 6, the SE, and then the Series 7, which is going to come out around Christmas, we think. And we have some of the smartest, most brilliant engineers in the universe designing and developing and implementing these things. And the path of this type of technology is just taking off. In the past 18 months, in the past year in particular, we have seen these people, these often young people, just take this technology and just run with it. And it's doing some amazing things. We're going to talk a lot about that today. Okay, and a lot about the features. This isn't a how-to on the Apple Watch, but we are going to talk about what they can do. Okay, but at the same time that they're running with this technology, we have the people who can benefit from it the most. Okay, you know, the greatest generation is here, and we're getting lost. And we're not quite sure what these things can actually do. So the gap in between understanding and the progression of the technology continues to widen. And so I appreciate all y'all being here to try to bring those together because they really can do some amazing things. And if you have something on your wrist that has all the power of NASA, but we're only able to use 5% of it, okay, then we're probably, you know, back to a calculator or a TI-83 plus or something at best. All right, so that's really what we're going to be getting into today. And I'm going to start here with something that we can all dive into on your iPhone, okay, and that's the Health app. All right, so there's a variant of this on your watch as well, but let's go ahead and all grab our iPhones and then pull up that Health app. Because the first thing I want to talk about, this is really where it's all centered, is the medical ID. Okay, and so this medical ID enables someone who is, you know, let's say the EMS, Wimberley EMS. If they come and you're unconscious, they can still access the information that is in your medical ID in order to gain information about you. Like, let's say you're allergic to peanuts, okay? They probably weren't going to give you peanuts if you're unconscious to help you, but it's good to know for them to know that, you know, similar allergies, it's not something that they want to help you with. All right, and so what I'm going to do here is just switch over and we're going to do a quick walkthrough but for the medical ID. All right, there. And so the way to find this, guys, once you open up your Health app, to find that medical ID section is to click your face up here in the top right-hand corner of your phone, of the app, okay? That's the About Me section, so to speak. And Cadence, I know you're on time, man, so we're all good to go. Appreciate you very much. Thanks, bud. Do you have any, like inspirational thoughts for the group, though? All right. Appreciate your help, man. All right, so if we click, so Scott Baker here, okay, we got Health ID, and the second one here is Medical ID. All right, does everyone see that? Okay, will you just check on the back left table real quick, Cadence, on your way out? Yeah, Medical ID. Yeah, so if you haven't taken a picture of yourself or done like me and done an emoji, okay, it's not going to necessarily show you the health details yet, all right, or your name yet. Got it, Al? Okay. And am I good on audio on the live stream? All right, so if you're on live stream, again, you'll open the Health app, and in the top right-hand corner, you can see either your initials or your face up there. Give that one click, and then it'll give you an opportunity to set up your medical ID. On my screen, I actually have a request at the very top before I click my own name to review my medical ID and review the information that's in there. And so that'll give you an opportunity to update your medical information, make sure that the blood type is right, height, weight, all that stuff. Okay, and if that's good, Nolan, if you can shuffle around for me, just kind of keep an eye out on both things. Thanks, Cadence. Have a good one. Appreciate you. All right, gotcha. He's got you right there.
That's good. Hey, you got all your stuff there. That's good for the EMS or whatever. Yeah, it is. So the medical ID card is a good idea for us to put on our.
Yeah, absolutely. So the medical ID is going to be secure on your phone, but the important details there that you want to fill out, or if you were imagine that situation where EMS needs to get to you and they need to know about your blood type, I'd say the two big ones are allergies and blood type. Okay, because those would be the important ones that EMS would need to be able to review if they weren't able to communicate with you verbally. Okay, so you got the refrigerator covered, but if you're on the road or something away from the house, this can be potentially life-saving in that situation. Yes, so yeah, we're going to finish with how to access that information. Okay, in addition, all right, and then in addition, guys, you also have an opportunity there to fill out emergency contacts. All right, and so those contacts can be seen and accessed quickly by an emergency team, and they're able to get to this without unlocking your phone, which is the important part. And we'll take a look at exactly how they can do that here at the end.
So if you scroll down, where you have emergency access.
Yep, okay. Let me see. Emergency contacts.
So I have emergency contact, and then underneath mine, I have emergency access, these two blocks.
Oh, yeah, right. So that is where you would allow them to see the information that is pertinent there.
I haven't been able to, where do I adjust that?
Click edit for me.
Okay.
Okay. All right, was everyone able to find the medical ID card? Okay, because I want to make sure we all got that one. It's important. And then there's one other section in the health app I want to touch on before we move on. All right, because the other important part, once we got that medical ID, and I'm going to mention this, and then we're going to talk about both. They're both together. Okay, is to donate, become an organ donor. All right, and that information can also be made available there. You'll see it in the same section where you are in the health app and tap your face at the top. There's an option where it says organ donation, guys, and so that one is located also in the About Me section under Features, and that's where you can sign up. The organization that runs it through iPhone is Donate Life. And so you can sign up to be an organ donor there. I know a lot of us are used to seeing it on the driver's license. That's where I got mine. And then you can also do it here as a digital version of that, if that's something that you guys are interested in signing up with. Okay, so both of those are now located in the health app. And you can access both of those by opening the health app, and just one more time for live stream, and then clicking your either initials or face up in the top right-hand corner to pull up that account information. Okay, any questions on that? All right, awesome. I see we're still updating that information. So while everyone is taking a look to update that, I'm going to go ahead and also click a slightly different button here than I just mean to press. All right, thank you. Awesome. Yes, and just kind of show where we have that medical ID access, okay? Because if EMS comes, and how do they get this information? So if your screen is locked, you can all try it now. If you finish filling that information out, you can lock your screen, okay, and then try to unlock it. But if you got Face ID, you probably got to cover cover the section that shows your face. Otherwise, it's going to unlock automatically. But there'll be a little option that pops up in the bottom that says emergency. And then that will bring up the option for basically two different key functions. Key function number one is that the person who grabbed your phone, even without unlocking the device, can place a 911 call. All right, we see it says emergency call here. 911, most numbers will not work. 911 will work. In addition, because you pay taxes, it will also work even if the phone that you pick up does not have cellular service connected to it. All right, it's going to work. All the providers, AT&T, Verizon, even if someone hasn't paid their bill, if you dial 911, it's going to go through. All right, even if it says, even if it doesn't have that service connected. Ken, hey, good to see you, EMS. All right, awesome. Yeah, thank you for being here. We got questions for you about this.
Can you tell me how to get there one more time?
Yeah, absolutely. So you'll try to unlock your phone, but make sure your face, don't let it see your face, otherwise it's going to unlock automatically. And then you'll click the button that says emergency. And so they'll see two pieces of information, and this is a good way for you to review what they can see. You were asking Sylvia, what is available for them to see by clicking the button in the bottom left-hand corner that says medical ID. SEs will do it. First generation will do it. Yeah. Anything that can run iOS 11 and up can do it. So that's iPhone 6 all the way. SEs are included. Yeah. And Ken, I was curious if you had a story about ever using the medical ID feature.
I personally never have, and I've never heard my medics talk about it. But
okay.
I know that someday we're going to have it.
Is this something that you guys talk about at all? Is the ability for it?
So it's something we definitely need to start bringing up to our medics. We know now. I go right here and I click it up like that, and I just push emergency right there.
There it is. And I assume the two big ones are allergies and blood type, which are the two that are shown there primarily.
Yes, and car wrecks and things like that. Anywhere when someone's unconscious.
Okay.
We come up on that a lot.
Sure. Yeah, the phone. If the phones have, we don't walk around with cases on our bodies, but hopefully we've got an outer box. It can give the information for us. All right. So in addition to these features, okay, if for the Apple Watch version, in order to access this, you'll hold down that side button on your watch. Okay, for my 2 or 3 watch owners here, so you got 2 buttons. Okay, one of them is the crown, which spins like a regular watch. And if you're at home, again, the crown is going to be on the top of the right-hand side of the watch. The side button is the longer button. If you click and hold that, it's going to give you an option to do 3 things. Number 1, turn the watch off. Number 2, view that medical ID information that you pulled up. And then 3 would be to dial emergency SOS. All right, which will make a sound like this. Okay, and in 5 seconds, it'll call, if you hold that down for 5 seconds, it'll call 911. Yeah, it'll call Ken, and then he'll come and help you.
What is that? Oh, hi. How are you?
Yeah, so that's the Apple. You set it up on the iPhone, okay, and then the Apple Watch can also access those. And there's a couple times where it'll access it for you automatically that we'll talk about here in a second. All right. Some of the other features, yes, ma'am.
It says share my data with Apple, don't share my data.
Give me a little more context. It doesn't mean health data. I can guarantee you that. And we're going to talk about that about halfway through. The question was for the live stream, if it says share your data with Apple, exactly what is that reference? Okay. And then Nolan, what did it look like it was?
It was about sharing health diagnostics.
Okay, yeah. So basically how the health app works, how people use the health app, that diagnostic data would go to Apple to help them build a better app, okay? Not, and I'll say not twice, not the data itself, not your health information. Okay, not even, Apple couldn't see that information if they wanted to. Okay. Okay. Right. So let me talk about that here in a second. Well, I'll talk about it right now. Okay, because let me clarify. There are some studies that you can participate in through the health. So, for example, the Harvard Health Study, when the Apple Watch first came out and could run ECGs, you were given the option to help participate in that study. It doesn't tie it to your name, okay, but it gives, for example, the Apple Health and Heart Study, there's 100,000 participants, okay, which is like 5 times the amount that they were able to ever get before, because that data tracks you every day, and the ECG tracks you whenever you run it. And so that has enabled scientists, and we'll watch a movie here in a second, to go through and get much more accurate data with a much larger sample size. So thank you for clarifying that, Nolan. Speaking of the heart, okay, let's all go back to our Apple phone, the iPhone now, and go ahead and pull up the health app and then click browse in the bottom right-hand corner. Okay, we've done the admin stuff, which is in the top right-hand corner. Now in the bottom right, you're going to get a lot of different options that you can use in order to help live a healthier life. So heart rate would be one of them. I'll go with a couple different features here. Okay, steps to success. We got a pedometer in there. And that one is really kind of taking a new leap in iOS 15, where it actually tracks how stable you are as you walk. It works in addition to your Apple Watch to track your steps, but it's not required. You also will just work with your iPhone as long as you have it in your pocket. Okay, had a customer who they pushed a cart, and so they put it in the cart and then pushed the baby carriage, and then they weren't getting their steps tracked at all. So that wasn't working out so good. So you want to make sure to probably keep it in where it can receive the impact of your steps. All right, and then with iOS 11.3 and on, all right, one of the coolest features is now with health records becoming electronic. Trying to come up with the word like the electronification of health records. Okay, we now have the opportunity to share health records among your doctors and other providers, so that they and you can have a more complete picture of your total health profile. All right, and you can see that health records section at the very bottom of Browse. When you click Browse, if you go to the very bottom, it'll give you an opportunity to set up a health record provider. All right, and so I'm going to show you here. This is, for example, a dashboard. This is not an Apple product. This dashboard is called Power Chart. Okay, it's used by, for example, a doctor, and they get to integrate and share that data with your doctor that it gathers from your Apple devices, from your iPhone, and then potentially your Apple Watch, which is a much better sensor daily for your vitals. All right, and what those health records enable us to do. Let me swap over here real quick. All right, so for example, here we have a list of institutions that support health records on iPhone. All right, we got Canada here. So Canada is coming in they got about 5 or 6 institutions. And so these institutions work with Apple in order to help support and share those digital records following HIPAA guidelines. All right, we got United Kingdom here. They got 2 hospitals coming online. And then we got the United States. All right, so the United States, of course, with it being an American-based company, has really spearheaded the opportunity to share these medical documents and build profiles that are more encompassing. I would say that the one that's closest to our location here is Baylor Scott and White, if you guys are familiar with that hospital. All right, they especially up in Killeen and out at Temple, and they've been moving south. Pflugerville, they're real big up there. And then Mary Hart and Baylor also. So there's a lot of different options depending on who your provider is. And these all aren't just hospitals, okay? Some of these are private practices that have signed up and are working with the Apple team in order to build kind of 21st century versions of medical records, and then also provide care in accordance with those. Any questions on that? All right, the list, just if you're curious, if you want to see if your provider's on here, I'll tell you, I looked, there's not one in Wimberley yet. Okay, like I said, Baylor Scott and White's kind of the closest. But I'll give you a note if you got a pen and paper, if you're jotting down notes. It's HT208647. I'll say that again. HT stands for how to, All right, so anytime you hear me say HT, it's an article that Apple has written. And the article for here that you just stick in Google is HT 208647. HT 208647. And so this will provide the full list, but more likely your doctor will be the first one to let you know that it can integrate with your iPhone before you come across this list and check up on it. Okay, any questions on that? All right, outstanding. All right, in addition to health records, okay, because that's dealing with the hospital, that can kind of be a hairy situation. We've all been through the system one way or another at this point. But a healthy community is what is coming out next. All right, so this is not a feature set that I can show you today on anyone's devices in their hands. This will not come out until September. But with iOS 15, with the new software that was just announced 2 weeks ago, we're going to now be able to share the information, your health records, and pertinent information that you choose to share only with different loved ones in your family, for example. Okay, so here we have, if you want to see your mom's sleep habits, okay, trending lower for 4 weeks, I say, Mom, hey, look, you need to get some more sleep. All right, iPhone's tattling on you. Okay, so this can encourage different people, the dad, mom, the kids, the grandkids, in order to build, in addition to a doctor who is able to give you some small fraction of his time, a certain number of times a month. All right, it can also have the people who work with you every day help support you by keeping track of your health profile. All right, maybe more than we would ourselves. Okay, so that feature is something that's coming out that's pretty groundbreaking in terms of the security that they've been able to implement in it, and in terms of the ability to share it, and both of those working together. Say that again? To get even with you? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so it's going to move up the, you take care of your kids and they take care of you. So they're going to do it in real time. All right. Okay, and so this is what I was talking about. In addition to this, as you might imagine, right before Apple talked about their health, they spent, in this last keynote that they did, they spent a whole block of section talking about the security. Join a program and choose to share that data with Apple, they cannot see that health data, and even then it's not tied to you, but they can't see that health data even if they wanted to. It's that high level of encryption, end-to-end encryption that we talked about last week during our security class. All right, and I want to talk real briefly about two different features of it. Okay, first of all, you can see here that you can choose what to share, and you can actually see how Randy sees your stuff by sharing your health alerts, like in a regular heartbeat, okay, a regular rhythm, your activity. If you want to share your workouts with them and say, hey, look how much I'm working out, you can do that. Maybe if you're having a rough week, turn that feature off. All right, especially around Thanksgiving time. I'm going to go over here, and we're going to watch just a couple minutes of WWDC that's going to talk more about this. Yes, ma'am.
How does it, if you don't have the watch, how does it know your heart rate and all that stuff?
That requires a watch because the watch is around your wrist and measures that heart rate.
So there's not any external peripheral devices that you could buy and plug into the phone. How they talked about
sure.
This, come out with.
Yeah, so the question for the class and the live stream is, if you don't have the watch, how does it do your heart rate? There certainly are certain peripherals that you can buy if instead of the watch. Okay, different heart rate monitors. For example, we get the question a lot, what about your blood pressure? Like, can we get some, does this do your blood pressure? Because it does do your blood oxygen, but can it do your blood pressure? No. Main reason for that is the only approved way to do blood pressure is by an inflatable. Okay, so it's got to inflate, it's got to cut off your circulation, and then you just got to let it out slowly and count the, you know more than me, Kim, but you got to count the pulses in every 10 seconds, right? Yeah. So they don't have watches that inflate yet. No, Sharon's not on either one yet. That's going to come out in the fall, that feature set. But yeah, that's a really good question. So to sum up, my point there is you can, though, buy a peripheral that wraps around your arm and does your blood pressure. Okay, and that would connect to your watch or your phone. and give you that information. So there's different things that you can do. Blood glucose is a big one, okay, for testing that, and of course, modern phones can read that. All right, let's take a quick look here. So this is a WWDC conference. So again, as a refresher, Worldwide Developers Conference just ended last Friday. Lots of breakthroughs, lots of training of people who run these apps and develop them. We're just going to take a look at like 2 or 3 minutes because it gets pretty technical. They're talking about code here. All right, but we're just going to look at some of the stuff that they're learning about in order to write better programs that work for us. As we go forward, as they build apps that work with the new iOS.
Hi, my name is Annie, and I'm a software engineer on the health records team. I'm joined today by my colleague Carrie to show you how you can empower people to share their verifiable health records using HealthKit. Before we dive into verifiable health records, I want to briefly reintroduce the health records feature that we launched back in 2018 for iOS 11.3. Health records allows users to connect to their providers and securely download their clinical records to the health app for easy storage and visualization. This is all built on top of industry standards like HL7's Fast Healthcare Interoperability Resources, or FHIR. With user permission, your app can access these health records that users have downloaded with HealthKit. For more details about the existing health records API, I encourage you to check out our WWDC 2018 video, Accessing Health Records with HealthKit, to learn more. For iOS 15, we're leveraging our health records work to allow for the download, storage, and sharing of verifiable records in the health app, implemented based on the Smart Health Card specification. Let's explore what verifiable health records are and how they're different from the health records data you can currently query for with HealthKit.
Okay, so that's just a little taste. This video, this particular one's about 20 minutes long, and there's lots of this information. If you're curious, check out the full WWDC for 2021. And there's a section on health. It's quite lengthy. We're going to watch one more, all right, just about a minute of it. And this is kind of what goes on behind the scenes in order for these guys to get schooled up in order to give us the best possible integration securely in accordance with their protocols. All right, let me do this. And then, Nolan, I'm going to switch out microphones here so that because I can hear that this one's dying, okay? You got my case right there. Awesome. Thanks. Time. Let's go measure health with motion. Nope, doesn't like that one.
In the measurement start date in the health app and in the earliest.
Hello and welcome to WWDC. I'm Rita, a scientist on the Apple software team, and I'll be joined by Sohan, a motion engineer. Today we'll introduce two brand new features that will enable you to better understand walking endurance and quality. Walking is a vital sign. The way an individual walks is highly informative of their overall health and well-being. It can be used to track recovery from an injury, assess risk of falling, monitor the aging process, and even predict.
All right, so let's hop back over here. Okay. I'm getting a little bit of feedback there. Is it coming through? Let me know if it's not coming through any longer. Thank you to the live streamers for hanging in there while we do our very first live stream. Some technical difficulties, but I think we're going to get it. Okay, so I wanted to pause there, okay, because that's about another 20-minute video about the kind of magic of this new feature that's coming out called walking steadiness, okay, because how we walk every day is very specific. All right, and the team and the engineering team have figured that out. And they've also figured out that a change in the way we walk can indicate a lot of times some potential health problems. Okay, instability, something that gets registered, and they can come through with this walking steadiness feature that Apple's releasing in the fall, where your walking steadiness is low and you may have increased a risk of falling in the next 12 months, is the example that they use here. All right, utilizing this mobility feature in all the different assets. And I think this is a really important point in particular, okay, because when you go in and you see your doctor, he gets this much time to visit with you and see if he assesses that there's something wrong.
These are not features available yet, not until September.
Yeah, thank you, Nolan. Yeah, these are going to be released this fall. So with iOS 15, what we're going to see is an increase of something that can monitor you every day and to determine and give feedback to your doctor to see if potentially is something wrong. Okay, because in that brief moment, there may not be anything wrong that day. All right, we're going to see a video at the end about where Apple Watch has actually come through and helped save some people's lives. All right, and then also just like I said, this feature in particular, you just need your iPhone and help give an overall health profile. Ken.
Will this tie into your health record and then it transmits both ways so the doctor can read your phone, you can read your health record?
Yes, as long as they participate in that program, which I haven't seen any in this in the Hill Country, I should say, but yes, they can see it both ways. Okay, and so right before I get to the Apple Watch stuff, does anyone have any questions over the Health app at this point? Okay, the feature set that is your homework that you get to explore, and if you're at home, maybe just do right now as well, is to go open that Health app, go to the Browse button, because there's lots of different features in there that it can take and encourage you to join and start utilizing probably what may be the most important part of the technology going into 2022, with like Nolan said this fall, about the health features. All right. Now, we're going to go over some of the benefits of the watches for my Apple Watch owners here. You may recognize some of these. And if you're thinking about on the fence for getting a watch, this is just going to be informational. Yes, ma'am.
Now, is that going to be on the new phones, or is it going to be an update?
It's going to be an update to all the phones 6S and newer. All right. Technology, I would say Apple, but really technology in general gets kind of a bad rap for what's the term? Planned obsolescence, right? They just want you to buy the new phone. You know, they're making their old phones old on purpose. Apple has now kept this is a total sidebar, but for 7 years, Apple has kept the newest software on the iPhone 6S and newer. So the iPhone 6S being 7 years old and still running the newest software is very impressive. All right. I won't compare it to others out there, but I will say it's best in class. So yeah, that SE, like you were talking about, that's still going to work. Your 6S is still going to work. All these features will be able to come out with it as long as they have. There might be one or two features that you need a certain type of accelerometer for that may not be in the 6S. But I don't know that off the top of my head. Almost all these features are going to be in both. So yes, when I say iOS 15, I just mean the software, and all phones within the last 7 years will run it. All right, for your watches, okay, I know the Series 2 may not have some of this, but the workouts are going to be there. Okay, they have this new plan called Apple Fitness Plus. I have this plan. I have never used it. Okay, I have it because Apple has a program called Apple One Plus, and you get like all the stuff. And we're signed up for it, of course, as a family. And you get Fitness Plus in here. And I will say when I found this picture, like I want to use it. Like this guy makes me want to work out right now. Like he is ready to go. And so the way it works is you can pull up your fitness and you put on your phone or probably on your Apple TV if you have an Apple TV at home. Okay, and you can see here it's showing your beats per minute for your heart rate, and it's going to show it on your TV, which is kind of cool. So you don't got to keep looking at your watch. As Apple does, it'll sync between the two devices immediately, show calories burned, that kind of stuff. All right, and The Fitness Plus is a monthly plan. I think it's $5.99. All right. And then also, of course, if you got an Apple Watch, you've seen these rings kind of show up and fill in the red ring, which is movement, just how much you move throughout the day, your steps. The green ring, which is actual workout, high heart rate. And then the blue ring, which is how much you stand. So if you stand 10 times a day, you usually get that blue ring filled. The reason I'm bringing it up now is not to dive into activity and how it works, but really just to point out that you can also share and do challenges with other people in order to share your progress. And that's kind of fun to do. I think that's been motivating for me in the past to have challenges to fill the rings on a daily process. All right. In addition to that, like I said, it also has the heart rate. I can calculate that consistently. And then it also does the sleep rate, which this is what I was talking about. Were you asking Sylvia about this, or do I sleep with it on? Yeah, so it actually is very effective if you sleep with it on to tell you how well you sleep, how much you toss, how much you turn, that kind of thing. Yes, Ken? And that is my exact lead up is when are you going to charge this thing, right? So I don't know when people who use this charge their watch. I charge it when I go to sleep. The watch itself only takes about 3 hours to charge. So I think if you were disciplined to take it off when you got home from work and you don't want any text messages, which might be ideal actually, and then put it on before you go to bed, that would work out for you. But yeah, it's a great tool. But yes, the charging is definitely, it's an all-day battery life is what Apple touts for it, and that's accurate. It lasts about a day, maybe a little extra. But it's not really a day and a night and then the next day. So you got to find some time in there to charge it, working into your schedule. But it does have this feature. All right, and then something that's kind of, actually I'm going to get to the hand washing in a second. Let me see if I can run a quick ECG as an example. Want to do one demonstration. Pam, do you have the ECG set up on that Series 5? All right, and I don't have it pulled up here either, so that's okay. But we're going to talk about it here in a second in a more theoretical sense. Something that's kind of fun, I just put up here because it's fun. When COVID happened, they released this hand washing timer. All right, so it would detect the sound of running water, and it would detect your hand motion like this, and it would count off 20 seconds. So it's a very government-friendly watch here in order to meet those what's the disease control? CDC guidelines. Thank you. Yeah. Yes, that's right. You got it. Yeah, we all went back to our childhood when this app came out for a little bit. And then the new ones, so the Series 6 now do blood oxygen, okay, which is, we talked about the greatest generation getting the health benefits, but we also, blood oxygen, I think, is for those high performance athletes that are really taking advantage of that. Mountain climbing, people who know, you're like, hey, what's your VO2 max? And they'll like tell you, I don't know what my VO2 max is, but they'll tell you and how it's developed. These oxygen sensors are really impressive. Yes, sir.
Oxygen saturation comes in for a multitude of things. We check oxygen saturation on everybody we picked up.
Okay.
It really, like if you have CHF or something, it'll knock your oxygen saturation way down. If you have COVID, it'll knock your oxygen saturation way down. So it's a really extremely handy tool.
Okay. What's CHF?
CHF is congestive heart failure. So if
okay.
Your heart's not moving blood through your body, then it starts backing up into your lungs, and then your lungs can't exchange oxygen very well. And so we start looking to see what your oxygen saturation is throughout your body.
In order to indicate how something else that might be going on.
Correct.
Okay.
Or I might need to put supplemental oxygen on or something.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh. I thought that was heart rate.
They check two things. That's called a pulse oximeter. It checks your pulse and your oxygen saturation.
The finger clips are oxygen and
yes,
pulse. Okay, I didn't know that.
Pulse, yes. That's a pulse oximeter.
Yeah.
This is really a pulse oximeter because it'll tell you your pulse and your oxygen saturation at the same time. I mean, you have to look in different places, but it'll do both.
Okay. I'm glad you're here, Ken. Yeah, so high performance athletes, but also daily, and that goes into that comprehensive health profile, okay, that you can work with your doctor in order to to live that best achievable healthy life. All right, and then that gets to the EKG or the ECG, which is the one that came out the Series 4, and that is basically able to detect arrhythmic heart rates. And you want that, it takes 30 seconds, and you want that sinus heart rate, the boring regular heart rate to come through. It will do the AFib, but it will not, it'll tell you right off the bat, it's not going to detect heart attacks or something like that. But it's a really useful feature and kind of the coolest thing, I think, breakthrough wise, that we've seen in the Apple lineup. And
So it looks like they have an update for that. I was just looking at mine on here, and it looks like there's an update for you.
there is an update for that ECG, and that's why I wasn't able to do that demonstration right now. I'm going to pull up this video. It's going to be about 2.5 minutes, and maybe I can get that going here in the meantime. Let me click it and then see. Oh, it refreshed the page. That's okay. Just give me one second.
For me, the dub is the Super Bowl.
You can feel the
Who knows what dub is? That's the Wwdc. That's the fun way to say it. All right, that's the way the cool kids refer to it. Okay, so I'm going to pull up this video. I think this one is particularly unique because it is the longest thing that I've ever seen in terms of a third party's video in the middle of Apple's keynote. Okay, so this is a program put together by the Heart Center that they worked with Apple to develop about the Corey app, and that's all I'm going to lead up to it. But I think it was really, really great in terms of things that other people are doing with using Apple's technology to create and to help others.
I'm Francoise Marble. I'm a cardiology fellow at Johns Hopkins.
Seth Martin, I'm also a cardiologist at Johns Hopkins.
Seth and I spend our days alongside our patients at the bedside. 6 white coats hovering over a bed. And we're trying to actually share what the patient's condition is, how they need to improve their life. We use medical jargon, we speak quickly, we confuse patients, and they're left on their own. There has to be a better way than just treating a patient, handing them a bunch of papers, and expecting that they're going to understand how to change their life. We thought, well, what if we completely re-engineer the process for a heart attack patient by using Research Kit, Care Kit, Help Kit, and then connecting it with an Apple Watch so we can bring in key cardiovascular metrics that help us to know patients are doing well.
When Francoise was in the Technology Accelerator program at Hopkins, the work there led to this phone call with Apple, and towards the end of the phone call, Francoise said to Divya at Apple, what can we do to accelerate this? And Divya said,
you guys gotta come out to Cupertino. Let's turn your vision into reality.
And we had a Silicon Valley Airbnb, and we started side by side coding with our iOS developers.
And then every couple hours, we would talk about their vision and tools they could leverage.
We'd go to a whiteboard and we'd lay out,
here are the things you guys should go tackle.
and we go back to our Airbnb, pour more coffee, order some bubble teas, eat some food, and then we would go into Cupertino.
They'd come back into Cupertino, piled in a minivan,
and spend almost the whole day there getting more feedback, working with their teams, and then
they would leave our offices and work through the night building and implementing the things we had talked about. With our tools and their vision, we ultimately made magic together.
We left Cupertino invigorated, and guess what? Our clinical trial was able to save an incredible amount of people from having complications and come back to the hospital, and it reduced hospital readmissions by 52% and likely saved a lot of lives.
I remember we were just sitting outside beautiful Cupertino weather, and it was just one of those moments where it dawned on us the Corey app was going to have an impact on so many people's hearts around the world.
This is the start of something incredible. It's the spark, and now it's like a fire.
It's fun, right? Yeah. So it's good. It's good when technology warms your heart a little bit. So that one's really fun, and I think that it's a good demonstration of, Apple kind of likes to say that they help others create, and they often mean that in terms of artists. That's kind of where they got their start, with painters and photographers. But now they're getting to help empower, especially with the Apple Watch, different fields of the medical profession which has been really, pardon the double use of the word here, but empowering to these guys in order to achieve new things that they could never do before. And you heard where it says they're keeping people from having complications and having to come back to the hospital, right? So in addition to that $399 investment, of course, is the toll on the taxes and insurance. As a society, as an economy, really starts to I think make waves in how we're doing progressively. So let me come back here because I want to, now that I got my app updated, I want to do a new movie recording and then switch this over to my phone. All right, and see if I can't do a demonstration here on the watch, just so that for my non-Apple wearers in the non-Apple Watch wearers in the room, we can take a look at that ECG. Now, I'd said that it can't detect heart attacks, and that's accurate in terms of today's software, but you heard them talking about the Corey app and how it's already starting to get ahead of that. So let me see if I can get this sized up. I'm going to throw on my camera app and see if I can't demonstrate how this one works right here. All right, how's it look? You guys can see it, yeah? All right, cool. So I'm gonna go on the Apple Watch. I'm gonna go over here to, I got it on the right-hand side on this one. I'm gonna tap it. It's gonna tell me to hold my finger on the crown. All right, I'm gonna take that, and there's gonna be 2 points in between my wrist and then my finger. And over the course of 30 seconds, it's going to be able to take a check to make sure I don't have AFib, okay, or any other kind of odd heartbeat. And you can see there at the bottom again, doesn't check for heart attacks. That's probably a disclaimer from lawyers who they mentioned it so many times that Apple decided they need to mention it a lot of times. All right, also have my beats per minute up there. And I got a poor recording, unfortunately, probably because I was talking a little bit too much. All right, but I've checked it before. It's normal, so I feel good about that. But those are the features that help work together in order to deliver that high level profile and granular profile to your doctor's team. All right. Oh, excuse me. Okay. Now, one other thing that came out with the generation before this was fall protection. We can see, well, 2 things. Number one, in addition to this recording that if you take in a hard fall, it'll automatically locate SOS services, all right, or emergency services. In that same noise that you guys heard a moment ago where I was holding the button down, if you've taken a fall, it'll start doing that. And if you don't stop it, it's going to go ahead and call 911. If you don't reach over and say, hey, I'm actually okay. The phone or my watch just fell off the counter, or I just jumped off a rock or something like that, but I intended to, and it will not call. You'll get a message like this: I fell, but I'm okay. Those kinds of messages. If you're over 55, this is on by default. If you're under 55, you got to go in and turn it on. If you have the Apple Watch app, that's where to make sure it's on. If you guys want to have it on, if you have an Apple Watch in the room or on live stream. And so that fall detection, for the younger crowd, if they're hang gliding or something like that, it's not automatically on, but they can turn it on manually. In addition to that, with that ECG or the heart health, you can also turn on the ability for it to notify you if it sees something wrong going on. And so that heart in the watch app, you can turn on the notification to see if there's problems going on that it detects or sees as irregular on your heartbeat. Okay, something that, let's see, I did want to demonstrate this one, even if that ECG didn't work. Let me pull this back up here real quick. Because this will be beneficial to those who have an Apple Watch, and if not, I want to make sure you know this because I feel like a lot of people don't. You can see I have a little arrow here pointed to get there faster. Those little icons are called complications. Okay, it's kind of an odd thing to name it, I suppose, but they're called complications because watchmakers called those little pieces inside your watch complications. All right, it makes more sense probably to them having to put in all those little dials. All right, but those complications here on my watch, if we look, I got 3 at the bottom. Okay, and this is just a demonstration. You don't have to worry about this now. All right, but I want to point out these 3 at the bottom. I can change those to whatever I want. And those are quick access to the different things. So there, as an example, there they have quick access to the ECG if you want to run one on yourself. In order for me to change that, I take my finger and I press in a deep press, okay, and then it gives me an opportunity to edit. And that's the secret right there. If I click edit, I can then go and change. I'm going to roll this to the right here on the crown, or excuse me, swipe to the right. I can click any one of these and then change it from calendar to, let's see, I want to put my heart right there instead. Okay, and here at the bottom, I've chosen to have my activity monitor. I don't need that activity monitor so much. I'd rather see what cycle the moon is on. And here on the top left, I have it right now for my battery. Let's go ahead and instead of battery, I'm gonna, let's see, yeah, okay, so I'll do the ECG. So I can do another one here and make sure that I'm good. All right, and I just wanted to point that out because I think that's a feature set that a lot of people miss, and then they just stay with the standard watch faces like this. You know, this is just a standard watch face. It's not good for me. It doesn't tell me anything I need to know, and it definitely doesn't take advantage of everything that's available to you with the Apple Watch. So I'll go over that one more time. Here up on my screen, I push in deep. That's the secret. You got to push in real hard. You bring up that edit there at the bottom. Okay, and then you can swipe through and pull up all the different features, change the color scheme, anything like that. Okay, good on demonstration? Yeah, good enough? Okay, good. All right, and that'll make the Apple Watch go from a watch that gives you text messages to something you interact with the 4 things that you use it for every day. No one's using their watch for 10 different things, all right, but everyone should be using their watch for 3 or 4 different things. All right, and speaking of the 4, all right, so we've talked about the big 4 before in terms of equipment, all right? So iPhone, iPad, MacBook, that's the big 3, all right? If you got those, you're pretty much in the Apple ecosystem and enjoying the benefits of everything that Apple brings together, the full integration of products, hardware, software, and services, okay? I call the big 3 keys, wallet, phone. When I'm leaving, I do check on my pockets, keys, wallet, phone, okay? But then you got the 4th one, which is my sunglasses, all right? And the 4th one for the Apple stuff is your watch. So in addition to that, the big 4 for our software class today is 4 things that I want you guys to take home, all right? It's 4:30 now. We're gonna just workshop for these 4 things that I want you guys who especially have been here all 4 classes to make sure you set up, because Apple devices are easy to use once they're set up correctly. When they're set up correctly, they're great. So I was talking about with the Apple Watch a minute ago. That's why I took the time to talk about it. And now we're going to talk about 4 different things that I want you guys to set up on your phone so that your experience every day is at a 10 with your phone and not at like a 6. All right, because if you set it up right, it's going to be a huge blessing. And so let's talk about that first with the new feature that came out last summer, which is the app library. All right, so we're going to start by opening your device, and then let's just take a look at what it looks like first. Let's swipe all the way to the right. So if I got page 1 here, I can go to page 2, page 3, and then I go to the next one, I get this app library. Does everyone have that? All right, if you got iOS 14, you should have this app library. Again, Sylvia, I'm going to get there by going to page 1, page 2, page 3, and then page 4, you got the app library. Okay, and you don't really need to do much with this, okay? I mean, let's take a look. What's going on? It's grouped it into creativity, travel, shopping, okay? It's kind of done these groups for you. That's helpful. Thank you, Apple. All right. But the most important thing that this provides is the ability for you to remove apps from your home screen and still have them be on your phone. Okay, so let me say that a different way. Every single app on your phone you don't need on your home screen anymore. This was a big change that happened last year. So if you have a bunch of apps and you've been trying to put them in folders and trying to keep them neat, or probably like me, they just get out of control and you download them and then they're there forever, but you keep them because you're not sure if one day, like maybe I'll need this thing, or when I go to Austin once a year for a weekend, I might need that Uber app. Let's get rid of it now. Okay, so what that means is if I go to, let's see, what do I want to do? let's go up here to this GroupMe app. I'm going to take my finger and hold it. And then like we're all seen before, okay, we're going to get the little option and click remove app. Now, before, that would delete the app from the phone. Now I have to go and re-download Uber and like remember my password and log in. Don't need to do that anymore. Instead of deleting the app, we're going to remove it from the home screen. Okay, removing it from the home screen will take it off of your phone's home screen, but leave it on your phone. And then you can go find it later in the app library that we just went to a few moments ago. All right, so let's just take a couple minutes. I want everyone to find this and just find one app that you want to get rid of. You can also, yeah, let's just do it like that. There's a couple of different ways to do it, but let's start there. And I really want to encourage you, if you're not sure if it should be on your home screen or not, and you're on the fence, get rid of it. You can always add it later. What we want to do is really clean home screens where you know where everything is. And we're also going to add some widgets. So you're going to need room. You're removing it from your home screen, and it will remain in your app library. All right, let's see how we look. Yeah, see one, and then it would be remove app, and then remove from home screen. It'll show up in the app library. Yeah, let's go the other way. 1, 2, 3. There you go. The best way to do it, if you know it's on there, is not to really go through here. Just search for it by name. Okay, you can go. Just type Fox. Yep. So swipe to the right. Yeah, it's after the last page of your last home screen. Swipe. Yes, swipe to the left would be a more accurate way to say that. Yeah. Swipe to the left to go right. Okay. Yeah, really encourage you guys, if you're not sure, just get rid of it, because you can always go back and find it in the app library, and or I'm gonna give you guys my other favorite secret right along here. Okay, not necessarily going to the app, because I don't go to the app library and scroll or anything like that, guys. That's not how I find these apps. I don't even really look for them on the home screen. What I do is I put my finger in the middle of the screen, all right, and I pull down, all right, and I search for what it's called. All right, that's what I do. I don't even touch the apps. I just pull down from the middle and I type Uber. All right, and then it pulls up at the top. Okay, that would probably be the most efficient way to run your phone, except you want to leave, maybe 10 apps, maybe 2 pages of apps on the home screen that you can interact with quickly that you know are there. Mail you probably want to leave. All right, and good. We get to go into adding those apps back. So let me go ahead and remove one that I want to bring back. Okay, you can follow along or we'll be with you in a second. I want to re-add GroupMe to it. So I'm going to go back. I'm going to find GroupMe alphabetically. I'm going to go down to G. Let's see, A, B, C, D, F, G. There we go. And I'm going to find a way to bring it up. Okay, and then if I hold my finger on there, it'll add it back to the App Store or back to my home page, and I can move it back to where I want it. So I'll say it maybe another way. There used to really only be 2 levels of priority of apps, okay? The super important stuff, which was at the dock at the bottom, and then everything else. Okay, now there's 3 priorities. The super important stuff is everything at the bottom. The stuff that you're probably going to use every day, maybe 2 or 3 times a week, maybe 4 times a week, and then everything else. All right, and that's going to allow you to have a much better experience. On the most recent time that I bought a phone, what I did when I set it up was I wiped everything and I started fresh. And I went from being frustrated with my phone every time I looked at it to loving my phone. And you interact with your phone probably more than any other device in your life every single day, all day long. So you want it to be something you don't mind looking at. You don't want it to be frustrating. All right, so 2 tips. I'm going to walk through them one more time, okay? Tip number 1 is to remove something from the App Store. Let's see, what's something I don't need on here? Okay, I don't need this quick app on here. We used it one time for today for Cadence to record that promo. We're done with it, but I want to keep it. I'm going to hold my finger. I'm going to click remove app. I'm going to do remove from home screen. Boom. Okay, it's gone. And tip number 2 is if I want to search it again quickly, I just pull down from the top or from the middle, and then I'm going to type quick, and there it is. All right, that's the easiest way to get around your phone and keep it clean and efficient. Okay, any questions on that? To bring an app back to the home screen? Yeah, let me pull that up here. Let me do that walkthrough so I have it for you. There it is. Okay, so let me. When you do the quick? Oh, well, Quick was the name of the app I was working with. Yeah, that could have been confusing. I was just saying when you pull down from the middle, I typed Quick in order to find that application, but it'll be whatever app you want. All right, and so Al asked a very legitimate question, which is how do you get the app back once you remove it? So I'm going to go back here to my app library. I just moved Airbnb. I want that back. So I'm going to take my finger and hold my finger on it. And now I can just slide. As soon as I start moving my finger, after it sits on it for a while, oh, let's bring it back here. All right, then I can put it back. So I'm gonna go over that one more time, maybe one that I don't really need on there. So I'm gonna, yeah, you got it. So I'm gonna take my finger on this Amazon one and start dragging it, and then it'll pop it right back on the home screen.
So you're removing it from the home screen, but you're not removing it from the app library.
Yes, that's correct. All the apps will be in your app library. All right, let's move on to option or big, let's see, I guess it's the big 4, number 2. Let me try that again. Let me try that again. All right, there we go. All right, so number 2 is widgets. Number 2 is widgets. So something that came out the same year at Dub 2020 last summer was the final meaning it took a long time, release of widgets. And we, as Apple users, we've been waiting on this for about 10 years. To be fair to Samsung and Android, they've had it since about 2010. Okay, we just got it last year. The general consensus is they're much better than they are on the Android, but it's definitely something I want to show off right now because there's a couple of them that I have that I really enjoy using. One of them you've probably already seen. If I go here, all right, I got a Photos app. All right, it just brings up random photos throughout my day that I'm like, oh yeah, that's that trade show that me and my wife did back while we were dating, I think is when that was. And so it's just a fun reminder to display photos on occasion. We had class number 2 about photos and about ways that Apple is actually making all these photos that you take digestible to you on occasion. This is a great way to do it, is the widgets. All right, we're going to go over how to do that right now. The easiest way to do there is if you can go and find a blank spot on your phone so you don't accidentally press an app, okay? So I got this blank spot here at the bottom. I'm going to take my finger and just press it on the blank spot until I get everything wiggly. Apple calls this Jiggle Mode. All right, so I got Jiggle Mode. I could go and do the delete app from the home screen option. I'm not going to do that right now. All right, instead, I'm going to go all the way up here to the top left-hand corner. For me, if you have a Touch ID, where does it show up for my Touch ID, guys? It's not in the top left, I don't think. Has anyone got a button on their phone still? Top right. Okay, top right for Touch ID. And so I'm going to tap that plus sign, and then it's going to give me this drawer of different widgets that I can add to my phone. All right, widgets are a smaller version of an app that you have on your phone. So for example, clock, instead of opening the clock app in order to see the time, although the clock app actually does show the time, you can throw a bigger clock on there. Okay, you can throw different reminders where here it's going to show me my last 3 reminders. We got news, so you don't have to open the news app. You can see if you want to be distracted without even going inside. And stocks, for example. Okay, here's top 3 stocks. Not a good day for the market. Everything's red. And then depending on what apps you have, as I continue to scroll down, all these different apps will give me different options about widgets that I can add to my phone. And so that's why in step 1, I want you guys to really clean out your home screen so that you have room in step 2 to add something that's more fun and practical. So for example, not a big Hulu guy, but I think this is a good example. I think Hulu has a cool widget. So if I do Hulu, all right, it's going to allow me to, to resume watching episode 23 of Shark Tank. All right, I guess I was watching Shark Tank. All right, there we go. So I can either do this tiny little version of the app, which takes up the space of four app icons. All right, let's see what that looks like. I'm going to add this widget. There it goes. Boom. Right up there, and I can just jump right back into Shark Tank. All right. Good question. Yep. So I'm in Jiggle Mode, and the method is the same. Okay. I can go up there and click that minus sign. I'm going to do that now so that I can go back and say, no, that's not enough Shark Tank information for me. I'm going to click Hulu and then swipe here. And now I get a couple different shows that I've been watching, Shark Tank and Dave. Okay. And if I go one more, now I get all, let's see, I don't think I was watching Teen Titan, but you know, I've got my kid here can hop on Teen Titan. And then I think one more, and okay, it's just changing the way the stuff's displayed. So there's a couple different options. So if I click this one, TV for you, and I add this widget, now it throws it up here. It takes up the space of 8, thank you, app icons. But it saves you a step from opening the app and finding it, right? I can just be like, bam, I'm ready for Shark Tank right now. All right, I only got 5 minutes. I need the Shark Tank. Here we go. So another good example that I have here as a widget is here is the thermostat that I have at the store. All right, so I can see the temperature in there, what it's set to, what it's at. Let's see what else we got here. Podcast I was listening to. Yeah, so Echo Bee makes a widget for it, okay? And then all right, we're going to do, Noel and I will do another quick walk around. If you guys got questions, just a couple minutes here. And I think, guys, also one that's really beneficial for me, if you use the calendar app, is to put the calendar widget there, because it can show you what's coming up today. And you don't ever have to open stuff. Like you just unlock your phone, you're on your way to something else, and you're like, oh yeah, I got a 1 o'clock. And that can be very helpful. All right, I'm going to just do a quick, yeah, you go that way, please. Do a quick scan, making sure everyone's able to find the widget section. The rest of it's going to be playing with it. Were you able to get that, Santiago? Got it. Okay.
Put the calendar widget
Cool,
on there.
cool.
And then just to get it to stay, I could just press anywhere or do
Press anywhere. Yeah. Oh, well, you'll either swipe up from the bottom or, yeah, click done. There you go. Long hold, plus sign. Yeah, and that brings up a good point about smart snaps. You good, Cleve? What you got? Tracker would like to use Bluetooth. Okay, I do recommend that. Yeah.
Okay.
Is it a tracker something you use? Is it?
I haven't.
Okay.
But I thought I would.
Okay.
I keep losing my phone. Does that track your phone or not?
I'm not familiar with tracker. Is it like air tile? Is it like AirTags? Do you have a little icon? That's what it looks like to me. Do you have a little like puck that goes on your keychain?
I believe I used to.
That's probably what that is. So this would be a good example. Get that off your home screen and in your app library. The stuff, I have so many apps that I'm like, I need to start using this one day. And so what I do is put them in my app library now, and it works a lot better. And so Smart Stacks will actually give you a choice between different, that's not it. Yeah, so go ahead and click add for me, because you got to do it and then swipe up and get out of there. Or like touch or click done, I guess. Yeah. So if you swipe, it'll show you different apps, different widgets based upon what it thinks you want to look at that point. So it'll automatic. I'm not sure why your weather app's not popping up there. Maybe you denied access to the weather app, but it'll demonstrate put up there what it thinks you need. So like if you go to work same time every day, it's going to start with that. So all you got to do is tap it, and it's going to get you directions to work or home. Yeah, so the smart stacks is a cool feature.
Smart stacks.
Let me do a full demonstration because I think that's a good one there that you just pointed out. All right, gang. I have one more feature I want to point out here with the widget, okay, that Ginger just reminded me of. If you might have noticed when you click this plus sign that there is one that's called a smart stack. Smart stack is a great option. I do recommend, especially if you're just starting with widgets, to go ahead and add one. You can add it of any size. And basically what happens is if I add the widget here, this smart stack will change based upon what it thinks I want to see at that time. So right now it thinks I want to read the news. Okay, I don't know, it's about quitting time, I guess. So maybe the news would be good. If I swipe up on it, I can see it also gives me the opportunity to read notes, to show me the time, to look at my most recent reminders, to set the temperature on our thermostat, or to watch Shark Tank. So at a certain point in the day, this will automatically change to Shark Tank, okay? Or I can go through and flip through and it'll offer to show me photos of my recent album, okay? And you can modify which one of those show up in the smart stack. So if you feel like some of these are taking up too much room, you can instead utilize a smart stack to put multiple widgets on top of each other. All right, does that make sense? Okay, cool. All right, so let me go back over here and just talk about our last few things in our last few minutes, because I really want to make sure that you guys get to use these super highly functional items of your iPhones, okay? The next one that is like kind of my favorite feature, my favorite simple feature that has improved my quality of life very much, and Nolan is shaking his head for, is going to be utilizing your keyboard as a trackpad. And so what does that mean? Well, this is what it means, okay? So if I go here and I start to write a new message and I go, the cat in the, yes. Oh, thank you, bud. Appreciate that. Let's do a new note here. And I'm going to call it, let's see, this is a message. All right, so I got this, and if I were to say mistype something, I'd say this, maybe with a Z, right? So this is a message, all right? Well, that's misspelled. And so we've all been through the thing where we kind of try to go and like poke it right in the right spot. All right, you don't have to do that anymore. Okay, Apple released a feature originally for the 6S where it had Force Touch, and now for all phones. Instead, what I'm going to do is just take my finger and lay it on the space bar. And then you can see here down at the very bottom, my keypad turns into a trackpad, meaning that I can move this cursor, if you can see it, I know it's far away, guys, but I can move this cursor freeform right behind that Z and let go. Okay, and that'll allow me to modify the cursor based upon where I put in that trackpad. And so it's a lot more simple, a lot more fluid, and a lot easier than manually selecting those locations in the message. All right.
You're in Notes right now or something, aren't you?
I'm in Notes right now, that's correct. So let me do anywhere you're typing text messages, Safari, web addresses, if you mistype a web address. This is a story about, say, cat in the hat. All right, so if I copy this, right, and then let's try paste. Android user gets caught. All right, so this is maybe a better example, right? So in this very long story about this cat in the hat, if I misspelled something in there, instead of going and trying to pick the exact right point, I can again just hold my finger on that space bar. It turns into a trackpad, and then I can move it around exactly to where I want in the story. And so, yes, that sound is the same sound that I made when I saw it, because like, what a relief to my life. All right, it'll save you 6 seconds a week. All right, you add that up over time, you're in the money. All right, go ahead and spend 5 minutes, take it on credit. All right, it's a pretty fun experience, and definitely something that I want to make sure that you guys got in what is considered here Mr. Mac's big 4 tips to take into the future. All right.
It doesn't work, because I know sometimes you end up writing text as a dissertation.
Yes, right?
And you make me realize you made a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
Still work for that.
Works, yeah. Anywhere you input text in I have it here on the Apple Watch because was it not set up to receive?
Oh, it was.
Oh, we just used it.
Okay, awesome. The other cool thing that you can do with, let's see here. Let me see. Yeah, I'm gonna do a quick demonstration just so that you guys can see it. All right. So if I go and get out of here. All right. So I'm gonna make a text message, and I just want to point this out. All right, this is my brother Connor, okay? I'm sending him some free stuff here. And so if I can also go, after these headphone jacks that I'm offering him, okay, he's a DJ, right? So he needs these headphone jacks. So I send him these, he didn't give me a response. So I can say, you want them, right? And then, not only that, I'm going to click this button here at the bottom, which says Apple Pay. And I'm going to send him a request. I can either pay him, or I can request cash from him and request how much you guys think these are worth. I don't know, $1. All right, so I can send him a $1 request in order for him to pay me directly through iOS.
His
I wasn't planning on it, but it worked out for demonstration purposes. All right, you can send people money directly through iMessage. So these services are pretty popular with Venmo, or Cash App. You don't need those anymore if they got an iPhone. You can just send it directly through iMessage.
Do you have to set that up on your car in Apple Pay? And it takes it from the particular car?
Yes.
Yeah, it does. So let's say I'm going to pay him, right?
Yeah.
You got me. All right, so I'm going to pay him $1. All right, it's going to verify that I want to send that $1. It's going to put it here, and I'm going to say send that. And then here it's going to pop up like you've seen before, where you checked out for the break. It's going to pull it up and then give me an opportunity to change the payment method. And I can select a different payment method here. Okay, I also have some money in Apple Cash that I could pay with instead, which is Apple's own wallet. But that'll allow you to choose a different payment option in order to send that money. Okay, and then also the same for receiving. Questions on that? What's that? Well, if it's going through Apple Cash, it's in the Wallet app. There's an app on your phone that comes with your iOS called Wallet. Everything else will be like regular banking statements. All right. Any questions on that, guys?
I think so. So you're with the Wallet app and Apple Pay, you're signing up for credit card.
Yes, ma'am.
So
Yes, that's correct. Yes, there's a card tied to this feature of Apple Pay. That's
So
pulling
$50 for today,
What's that?
today's dollar.
Yes, right.
I just went through it, but I put in my credit card.
So that, yeah, but the donations to Wembley EMS were
That's a
not,
different
was
system.
not through this. Yeah, those are unrelated. That was more traditional plug and play square thing system. Yes, sir.
Can you just go back to your text message and show again how you got, because I don't have that bar right
Okay, so yeah, if what do you have right above the keyboard? Do you have anything there? You should have
there.
a.
Yes, I have the C, whatever it's called.
There's like a little app
Oh,
icon,
I got
and then it
you.
brings
Okay.
up all the apps.
You guys are pretty dang smart.
Apps just aren't for the iPhone anymore. There's a whole app store for your watch and also just for your iMessage app. Yeah, there's all kinds of crazy stuff here that you can do.
That's one of the features, yes, ma'am.
Yeah, if I also want to send him a meme, I can send him this thing of a cat. Okay,
That's from Shrek 2.
that's from Shrek 2. I'm gonna replace the money with instead he's gonna get this meme, this gif of a sour-looking cat. Alright, so it's just gonna be great right after request for $1. Alright, so lots of cool features in this app store for your phone. The only one I really wanted to point out there was the Apple Pay one that's right there at the bottom. But there's lots of cool stuff, emojis that you can send music. And those are all just the app you can send songs to. And those are the Apple ones. After that, I get into other apps like Venmo and GroupMaker, lots of YouTube, lots of different cool features there.
The digital touch is fun.
Digital touch, you can kind of give them a heartbeat. I'll send a digital touch from time and again to my wife. Those really work good for watches too. So the big four, okay, app drawer, app library, which is to say remove stuff you don't need from your home screen. Let me go back to my presentation here. It's all in there. Alright, number 2 is widgets. Alright, get your 2 or 3 most famous or things that most useful apps and make a widget out of them. There's some really cool stuff that you can do there. Number 3, leave that finger on the space bar or scroll. And then 4 is Apple Pay. I do recommend setting it up. HEB still doesn't accept Apple Pay, but I hope they do. Every day I hope they do. Alright.
I'm surprised they don't.
When you forget your wallet, you're like, maybe it's okay. But at HEB, they're not quite there yet, but I'm pulling for them. Love HEB. Okay, so that's the big 4, and then we're going to finish today, guys, with the video. Mel, can you get the lights? You don't have to turn the lights off, but it's so much more romantic. Right, here we go. 1, 2.
Dear Tim,
最近的 Apple 公司
Hello, Mr. Cook.
从来不是提问。
I know you may never read this, but I just wanted to put it out there.
I live in Massachusetts.
I'm a country boy from small town Mississippi.
I'm a 2-time Olympian.
我是一个盲人跑者。
I'm the father of a 9-year-old.
I am a 99-year-old world traveler.
Every day for the last 2.5 years, I have worn this tiny computer on my wrist.
This is the first time I've worn a watch since my bar mitzvah. I was a scrawny, sports-hating kid who never really liked being active.
I was coming back from a knee surgery.
While I was never fat, I was the proud owner of the dad bod. I'm feeling to a deep depression and weighing 250 pounds. Now I get up at 5 a.m.
If it's 5 minutes to midnight, I'll do push-ups in my bedroom. I'll take the dog out for a really quick walk around the block.
I walk around the house and my family thinks I'm a little crazy.
I typically have lies when the Apple Watch reminds me to stand up every hour.
I ran my first hard race in December during a full marathon in February. Agora consigo chegar e quando o meu corpo está respondendo a múltiplos ensaios.
至今 Apple Watch 在我跑步时给了我很多的帮助与支持。
Dear Mr. Cook, our daughter was recently diagnosed with type 1 diabetes.
I carved over 3 times and my phone landed far out of my reach.
Once I collected my thoughts, I remembered my Apple Watch had the SOS feature. After being rushed to the emergency room, I was diagnosed with a condition that was causing my liver, kidneys, and heart to start shutting down. The integration of her glucose monitor with the Apple Watch lets us make sure her blood sugars don't go to dangerously low levels. For 6 minutes, I hung there in my car, talking to a dispatcher until help arrived. Had I not been wearing my Apple Watch, I never would have sought medical attention, which in turn saved my life. Sincerely, Paul.
Thank you so much for creating something that does not make me feel old.
Thanks for listening. Abby.
Sincerely, Stuart. 祝美好，请上。
All the best, Tara.
Sincerely,
Jill.
Casey.
Благодарностью.
Muito obrigado. Giovanni.
So Apple has a couple videos that are entitled Dear Apple. They're all equally heartwarming, and some real stories that these devices have helped people to in emergency situations, which is where the Apple Watch in particular was originally released. Okay, and now we're seeing them in a more preventative medicine type of environment, and that's better for everybody. That's why preventative medicine is generally $0 with any type of insurance. Okay, because it saves the taxpayer, it saves us, and it saves everyone who's involved when we get to it on the front end. And so that's the kind of promises that this technology is starting to show. All right, that's it for this main part of the presentation, guys. Any questions? We're on time, 5:04. Thanks for staying a couple minutes late. We got any questions from the live stream? No. Okay. I got one more thing, and that is thank you. Just a big round of applause for Ken and the EMS team. Woo! If you guys, we did the online donation. Thank you all for those who gave online already. But if you want to make a donation, because our campaign is ending as a store, if you still want to make a donation to WembleyEMS.org, there's a button at the top that says Give. All right, and one more thing, the Empowerment of Apple, they do their one more thing a couple times a year. All right, I do have one more thing, which is if you felt like this was a lot, or you forgot some stuff, if you open the Apple Books app, okay, and search for the iPhone User Guide, there will be a consistently released iPhone User Guide available to you all. It's hundreds of pages, it's a lot, but the search function is very powerful, and you can go in and then find the different information that you're looking for. All right, and that's a great online resource that Apple consistently updates with every release. Yes, sir.
I also love the Tips app.
That's a good point. Yeah, I have talked about that in a different class, but I haven't mentioned it once. There's an app that usually comes by default, guys, but if you don't have it, go to the App Store and type Tips. It's a yellow icon, the one that comes from Apple. And a couple times, is it once a day or so, Ken? Once a day? I think every day you get a fun tip, like the one that we just went over with the finger on the trackpad, finger on the space bar. Just something that you didn't know that you can implement into your everyday life, and that one's really good too. But if you want the full Makunga, as my dad might say, this iPhone User Guide is a great resource in the Books app. Okay? All right. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. Thank you, Alex.
I didn't even say I don't have Apple Books.
Let me turn off the live stream.